We are roughly halfway through year number 6 of the Chicago White Sox franchise here on MLB The Show 25. It's no secret that our team is disappointed this year. We're in last place in the division, 8 out of first place, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of going after a wild card spot. But it does seem like the team has really turned things around. I would say the turning point was our big win against Texas, 14-1. The Rangers have been one of the best teams in baseball, and we absolutely demolished them. The offense had their best game of the year, while Framber Valdez had a no-hitter that lasted over 7 innings. We were 19-31 going into that game, and our record was at its lowest at 18-31. Since then, we're 14-6. We're playing a lot better. The offense has improved. We still have a lot of work to do, but it seems like the tides are starting to turn a little bit. Today, we're going to make it all the way up to the trade deadline, so we've got a lot to get through, including the MLB draft and the MLB All-Star break. Our team is relatively healthy for the most part. Thorpe and Burke have obviously been injured for much of the year, but we're doing a lot better health-wise. We're still 28th in batting average, which is not good, but for most of the year, we've been in last, and we've been roughly at around 220. So the fact that it's almost at 240 is certainly progress. Our star players are looking a lot more like stars. Kyle Teel has played considerably better than he did earlier in the year. Edgar Caro has as well. Teel hitting .372 over his last 10. Shane Schmidt's batting average is still awfully low, and unlike the two catchers, Cam Smith is still really struggling. Hell, even Caro hasn't been all that great over his last 10 games. But the two cornerstones of the lineup, Teel and Caro, have been doing better. Brian Ramos is having a nice year. Guys like Myers, Wagner, certainly Corey Julks, they have been impressive. We made a big move early in the last episode. We signed Mike Trout out of free agency, and it's given us mixed results. He's only hitting .205, but he's hitting for great power. His OPS nearing 800, already has 6 homers. And then Oswaldo Escobedo is back healthy. That's a big deal. He's been out since April. We just got him off the injured list. He's only played 9 games, but when he's been out there, he's been really impressive. With Waldo returning, we're going to have Yason Morabel go down to AAA. As for the pitching, Framber Valdez has been outstanding. Hayden Wesneski and Noah Schultz have been streaky. Schultz in particular. He's allowed 7 runs in his last 4 starts, 6 of which coming in 1. He's had some really good games as of recent. Hopefully he can keep it going. And we made another signing. We brought back an old friend, Bryce Wilson, who we had on the team in year 1. He was really good. He's bounced around with the Padres and the Rockies. Had a 2.46 ERA in Coors last year with Colorado, and through 4 starts, he's been pretty solid with us. He replaced Jagger Haynes in the rotation, which is ironic because all the way back in that year 1 offseason, we traded him for Jagger Haynes. We also signed Sony Santillan, another old friend who's been with our team over the last 3 years. So we're picking some guys out of free agency because we don't have a lot of AAA guys who I feel like are quite big league talent. And then the other storyline to watch for is probably Ezra. He's been a little disappointing this year. Now, he's been playing better as of recent. He did just blow his last game. But he hasn't looked like himself, per se. Nonetheless, we are going to have, hopefully, a number of all-stars. Framber Valdez, 5th in terms of starting pitching. Jojo Romero's in the mix in terms of relievers. He's been awesome as well, just like he was last year in the Giants franchise. He hasn't allowed a run in his last 9 outings dating back to May 5th. Ezra Valenzuela would probably be an all-star, which is pretty crazy that he's had a slightly disappointing season, yet he'll still likely make the all-star team, which speaks to how good he is. And then Kyle Teel and Edgar Caro, both with a good shot as well, even though they've been disappointing as well. None of our other position players are really in the mix, which isn't really a surprise. So remember, that Rangers series I described as the turning point, and it's a little ironic because they're on the schedule next. Texas is having a great year. They are 42-27. We, of course, are 32-37. We've made up some ground in the wild card and the divisional race, but we would still have to pass 4 teams to take over either first place of the division or that third AL wild card spot. Luckily, we have 3.5 months of the season, and our team's playing some good ball. So we're going to play this first game here against the Rangers. They are certainly in the mix for the World Series. They, of course, have been a consistent playoff team throughout this series. They made the World Series in each of the first 3 years of the franchise. Last year, they were the number 1 seed, but got upset by Minnesota in the ALDS, so we didn't end up playing Texas in the playoff, even though I was kind of expecting to. We've got some guys playing some really good ball, of course, including Corey Julks, who I think has been our most consistent hitter on the year, which doesn't say a whole lot because nobody else has been. Over his last 12, he has 4 RBIs, a home run. He's hitting .422. he's playing some good ball. As we take a look at both lineups, 1-9, Oswaldo Escobedo batting in the 6th slot, his first game in around 2 months. On the mound for the Rangers is their ace, the reigning American League Cy Young winner, Sandy Alcantara. Of course, the NL Cy Young winner is on our roster, Framber Valdez. Sandy hasn't been bad this year, but he also hasn't quite looked like a Cy Young. Julks nearly rips his head off, a leadoff single into center field, so an early base runner here for a White Sox offense that still has a lot of work to do. We're still 28th in batting average. That's still not good, but it definitely has gotten better during this impressive run of about 20 games or so. Kyle Teal, that one gets away behind the plate, and that will be a wild pitch that moves Julks over to second base. So already, we've got a runner on scoring position with nobody out for the heart of the order. We'll see if we can bring him in. Now he's at third. Edgar Caro with a liner into right, and that one scrapes over the fence into the corner. 2-run homer for Edgar Caro, and the White Sox strike first. It's 2-0. His 11th of the year, 364 feet. It's been such a big deal having these two catchers playing a lot better, and it is kind of crazy that they're both probably going to make the All-Star team, considering they've both been kind of disappointing. We're so lucky to have two catchers who are not only that good, but the standard is so high that an all-star berth isn't enough. Here's Bryce Wilson. He's thrown 21 innings this year. He's been really good. ERA at around 3. The starting rotation as a whole has been really solid. We're tied for 12th in strikeouts, although Wilson's K rate is below 6%. He struck out 5 batters in his 4 outings, with his season high being 2, which on one hand, obviously that's not good. Up the middle, Rosario with a leadoff single. Even though the strikeout rate isn't good, you would have to think that's going to come back down to earth, or I guess up to earth in this case. So if the strikeout rate improves and he continues to do everything else well, then we could be looking at an extremely dangerous pitcher. Although he's not looking the part of dangerous so far today. Wyatt Langford singles into left, so the Rangers now have 2 on, nobody out. I'll bring up Corey Seager, who's in the midst of another great season. Truly a Hall of Fame level player as he goes down on the circle change, the 3-time World Series champion. Will Benson now 1-2. This one will get by Daniel Schneemann for a single into left. That should score the run. The other runner, Langford, with his close to 99 speed, is safe at third. The Rangers on the board as it's 2-1. We'll move into the second. Welcome back, Oswaldo Escobedo. His first at bat in nearly 2 months. And he rips this one into the gap in right center field. Waldo rounds first, digs for second, and he returns with a double. He was largely a bench or platoon guy for us earlier in the year, but I think we're going to make him a regular starter, or he was going to become that as he got hurt, but, well, then he got injured, and his progress was kind of ruined. Cam Smith draws a walk, 2 on, nobody out. This is trending towards quickly becoming a not-so-good start for Sandy Alcantara. Daniel Schneemann checked his swing. Umpire says he went around for strike 3. Big pitch there by Sandy. Now 2 away, 2-2 for Corey Julks. This one is batted back up the middle. Sebastian Walcott at short makes the play, flips it over to second. And Alcantara, our good pal from both the Marlins and Giants franchises over the last 2 years, gets Texas out of the jam. Alcantara's had a few different spots in this series. Played with the Rays for a little bit. Obviously started with the Marlins as we move into the bottom of the second. Dustin Harris, 2-2, got him looking. Dustin Harris will always be stamped on this channel. For those of you who were here in the Cleveland series in MLB The Show 22, he's the guy who walked off the World Series in year number 5 against the Cubs. A walk-off home run in extra innings to clinch the World Series. It does not get better than that. That was Dustin Harris. Omar Rivera with 2 away. A 21-year-old catcher making his big league debut. Pops up to center, caught by Julks. Omar here is a 49 overall. No, I'm not kidding. Why he's playing for the Rangers, I couldn't tell you. He is like 40 contact and 20 power. As we move into the third, Kyle Teal, base hit his last time up. Now he's 2 for 2. Singles in to left as he's likely to be an all-star starter for a 3rd straight year, and that's after hitting barely 200 for the first 40 games of the year. Edgar Caro homered his last time up. This time a little less successful as he strikes out on the circle change. Good pitch by Alcantara. Shane Schmidt, he's drawn a lot of walks. He's hit for good enough power. He's only hitting 202, though. The average is not where it should be, and he has certainly regressed here in year 2 as he strikes out. Brian Ramos, meanwhile, has had a good season. I would say he's been right up there with Corey Julks as our most consistent hitter through the course of the entire year. He strikes out. Sandy gets out of the frame. He's looking better than he did early. We'll go bottom 3. 2 away for Corey Julks. Bryce Wilson really settling in after a slow start, although Julks draws a walk. So now there's 2 outs and a runner aboard for Will Benson, who's having a great year here in Texas, looking to make his first ever All-Star team. As he flies this one into center, Julks is under it, and he will have trouble making the play, but he does. Still 2-1 through 3. We will move into the 4th. Waldo leads things off. Waldo gets that one by the glove of the third baseman, Dustin Harris, for a leadoff single. Oswaldo Escobedo, 2 for 2 so far in his first game back. We love to see it. Can the White Sox bring him in, perhaps? 1 away for Demon Schneemann. The 2-2. Swing and a miss on the circle change. Good pitch by Sandy Alcantara. That is his 5th punch out of the game. Barney Wagner now up for the White Sox. His offensive numbers have been a little disappointing, but not bad this year. His WAR is higher than I would have expected, though. He's played much better defense than I anticipated as he grounds out. Good play. They're at second base to get out of the inning, and we will travel into the bottom of the 4th. Sebastian Walcott is up. Count is even, 1-1. Pitch from Wilson, and Walcott will bloop this one into left. That'll go for a hit. We could have traded Luis Robert to these guys early in this series, like year 1 or year 2. Walcott would have been the big get in that deal, and I posed the question of, would we have been better off doing that? Walcott is only 22 years old, but he hasn't really played all that well in his big league career. I think his career WAR is like .3 as Deshaun Kiersey strikes out. Obviously, Luis Robert is better than Walcott, but Luis Robert is also not on our team anymore. So it's certainly an interesting discussion to look back at as Harris goes down looking. Still 2-1. We move into the 5th inning now. Bryce Wilson really pitching well. He looks good. And he's even striking some guys out, which obviously isn't really the name of his game. Top of the order up for the White Sox. Corey Julks goes down looking. I don't know what he was waiting for. That was a really nice pitch to hit from Sandy. Kyle Teal. Oh, my God. That one could have killed him. Teal at first is out. Good play at third by Dustin Harris. We're going to challenge it because I kind of think it's close enough to where we might as well get another look. I thought he was out in real time, but figured it's worth the shot. And, yeah, he was out. Sandy's going to stay in the game, believe it or not, even though he took a hard comebacker to the back. Caro with a dribbler up the middle. Alcantara after it. He'll make the play. That'll probably be it for his evening. Had he not gotten hit hard by that baseball, maybe he stays for the 6th. But I imagine the Rangers are going to be cautious with him. 5 innings, 2 earned. Looked rough early, but really settled in and bounced back. Now we'll go to the bottom of the 5th now. Ahmed Rosario, top of the order for the Rangers. He goes down on the fastball. Bryce Wilson's gotten a handful of strikeouts these last couple of innings. He's now at 6. He only had 5 coming into the game this year. Walker Buehler is out of the bullpen now. Buehler? Anyone? No? 5 ERA on the year for Buehler as the primary long reliever for the Rangers. He gets Brian Ramos to go down on the inside fastball. These two offenses look so good early, and then neither of them have done anything since the first inning. Wilson will remain in the game here in the 6th as Corey Julks goes down looking. A lot of Bryce's strikeouts tonight have been looking. His control has been elite. 2-2. Benson goes down swinging. Fastball down the middle at 91. That was a very hittable pitch, but Benson just completely mistimes it. 2 away now. We'll see if we can get out of the inning with Josh Naylor, who leads the American League in RBIs. Seager, for what it's worth, is in 2nd as he goes down looking on the fastball. Wilson strikes out the side here in the 6th, finishes the night with 9, and even though a lot of them were guys going down looking, the last 2 guys both swung and miss. Yosver Zulueta is out of the bullpen here for the Rangers in the 7th. Cam Smith only hitting 190 this year. It obviously has been a disappointing campaign for him, but he draws another walk. That's not been the issue with his season at all. He has one of the highest walk rates in the AL. His approach at the plate has been phenomenal. He's just not really hitting the ball well. Now has 2 walks tonight as Wagner puts it on the ground. Should be a double play, and it will. We still have not scored since the first inning. That's not good enough. Luckily, they have not either. We've gotten a little lucky in that regard as we go to the bullpen for the first time tonight. 6 innings, 1 earned for Bryce Wilson. Very good outing. Brian King will replace him. I think, other than JoJo, he's been our best reliever this year. This has been a home run trade with the Astros. I think that was the Cody Hosey trade, who, guess what? He's on the injured list. What a surprise! As Sebastian Walcott strikes out. Dustin Harris now, runner on off of a walk, but not for long. Thrown out, going to second base. That's Deshaun Kiersey, who is gunned down behind the plate by Edgar Caro. Colin Holderman comes out of the bullpen here for the Rangers in the 8th. 3.12 ERA in 43 innings. He's been really solid this year for Texas. Top of the order, up for Chicago. That starts with Corey Julks, the 1-1. This one is hit well into the gap. That'll go for a leadoff single. The White Sox get themselves a runner. Looking to add some insurance. Obviously, I trust the back end of the bullpen with JoJo and Ezra both loosening up. But the Rangers' offense is also really good. They might be the best in the AL. Teal gets that one to split between the first and second baseman. And all of a sudden, we've got 2 on, nobody out. We've got a great opportunity here to do some damage. Edgar Caro, count is full with nobody out. Caro's had a solid day, 1 for 3, also with a nice defensive play in the last inning as he puts it on the ground, because of course he does. It is a 6-4-3 double play, and we would not score the runner from third. JoJo Romero will come in here for the bottom of the 8th, .87 ERA. He has been ridiculous. And to think if he was playing like this in the Giants franchise last year during some of those postseason runs, his ERA would go up with these numbers. That's how good he was in the series last year. He's done his best to match it this season as Omar Rivera lines it hard to first, 100 off the bat. I would have been a little embarrassed to let Rivera reach base, given that he's a 48 overall in his first, and who knows, maybe his last big league game if the Rangers are smart. 2 away for Wyatt Langford, who gets a hold of this one into left. Julks can only watch it fly. That baby's out of here. 408 feet for Wyatt Langford, his 8th of the year, the first run for either team since the bottom half of the first inning, and the Rangers tie it at 2. The first run that JoJo Romero has allowed in his last 10 outings, dating back all the way to May 5th. Corey Seager now 1-2, swing and a miss, slider well outside. Great pitch, but a big swing for Langford to tie the game at 2. We'll go into the 9th. Cole Winn, looking for the win, is in for the Rangers. He is 18 of 18 in save opportunities, but his ERA is at 4. How does that make sense? It's not a save opportunity, though, but he's looking to hold the tie as Brian Ramos leads off the inning strong. This one is into right center field. That one goes off the wall. Ramos will waltz into second base with a leadoff double. Perfect start to the inning. We've got to stack some base runners and hope we can get a big swing or two to really propel things. That'll bring up Waldo. He's had a nice day. Couple of hits with a full count. This one on the ground. Going to be a tough play. Walcott deflects it. And there will be no throw to first. An infield single for Oswaldo Escobedo. 2 on. Nobody out. Golden opportunity. That'll bring up the struggling Cam Smith, who clobbers this ball into straightaway center field. 450 feet to put the White Sox ahead 5-2. Big time swing for Cam. His 6th and certainly his biggest and probably longest home run of the year. No doubt about that one. I think everybody in the ballpark knew that one was gone as soon as it hit his bat. Wynn will be quickly taken out of the game. Alejandro Rosario will replace him. 4.31 ERA and around 40 innings of work this year as Mike Trout comes in off the bench for the White Sox. Only hitting .205. He's done a lot of other things well this year as he goes down looking. Rosario gets through the rest of the inning. We move into the 9th where Ezra Valenzuela looks to get the save. Even though he's been disappointing this year, he's still been better than 75% of closers across baseball. His ERA is still in the low 3s. He's only blown 2 saves this year. He hasn't been bad, it's just the standard is so high. It ended up being a pretty quick inning for Ezra. Walcott flies it into right, caught by Smith, who of course was the hero with the homer in the top half. And the White Sox take the first of 3 on the road in Texas by a final score of 5-2. Good win by Chicago. Lots of cleanup, though. I mean, we went through the 2nd to the 8th innings without scoring. That's not great. But we had a couple big swings in this game. The 2-run homer by Edgar Caro in the first. The 3-run shot by Cam Smith in the 9th to win it. The Rangers' offense was not great for their standards. I thought we had a really nice day pitching-wise. Julks had 2 hits. Teal had 2 hits. Waldo had 3. Smith reached base 3 times with 2 walks and the homer, driving in 3. Bryce Wilson was very good, 6 innings, 1 run, 9 punch-outs, and then the bullpen was really solid, other than JoJo Romero allowing the homer. Rangers only had 7 base runners, 6 hits, and just 1 walk. Sandy Alcantara started slow, but really got going as the game went along. And then the bullpen was really strong for them, other than Cole Winn. So we'll see if we can potentially go for the sweep with Framber Valdez and Hayden Wesneski starting over the next 2 games. I'm kind of deciding which second game I want to play today, either the Dodgers or Cleveland. I kind of want to see where Cleveland is in terms of the proximity of the divisional race. So we are going to make it up through the end of June. We've got the Cardinals and the Blue Jays, who are not great, but then the Diamondbacks and the Giants have been really good. Arizona lost a lot of guys in free agency, including Framber Valdez and Geraldo Perdomo. They traded away Adrian Del Castillo, yet they've been one of the better teams in the league, surprisingly. They have a better record than the Dodgers. It's the 25th ranked team in the game, while the Dodgers are first. The Cardinals are 30th in contact rating, but they're hitting .265, which is only 8 points lower than the Dodgers, who are the number 1 contact team in the game. Douglas Cato's coming off the injured list, and he will be replacing nobody's spot on the roster because he's going down to the minors as a result. He hasn't played all that well this year. I'm hoping he can pick it up a little bit. So we ended up sweeping the Rangers, believe it or not. 6-0 versus Texas this year. Now we've got the Cardinals at home. St. Louis is towards the middle of the standings, just like us. We lost the first game. Here in game 2, the Cardinals have 2 on, 2 away, trailing by 1. Groshans into right. Smith does not make the play. 1 hops off the wall, and the Cardinals will take the lead. Jordan Groshans, a 2-run double, and St. Louis is ahead by 1. Edwin Uceta, who hasn't been pitching well as of recent, allows the big hit. JoJo Romero comes into the game. JoJo allowed 3 runs in the first matchup against St. Louis. So he's let up 4 runs in this episode after allowing 3 runs the whole year before that. And we've gone through like 4 games today. His first pitch goes behind the catcher. Runner moves to third. His third pitch is a fly out to right off the bat of Jimmy Crooks. That'll end the inning. Cardinals take the lead, though, although we would get our chance in the bottom of the 9th. We've got a runner at second base. That's Dane Myers, and 2 away for Cam Smith against the former high draft pick out of the bullpen, and Ed Dooley, who's in his first full season with the Cardinals. Hasn't been that great. As for Cam Smith, he's been playing some good ball as of recent. Had the big homer against the Rangers. This one is not hit nearly as far as it is caught by O'Neal Cruz in the outfield. And the Cardinals win this game, and thus they win this series, taking this one with a final score of 6-5. St. Louis is not a bad team per se, but would have been nice to win a game or 2 in this series, although I guess we could still win the last game. We had 12 hits, they had 7. We did a much better job of getting guys on base, but we didn't do a good job of driving in those guys on base, clearly. Caro had 3 hits, Trout had 3, including a homer, Wagner had 2. Pitching wasn't great. Hagen Smith struggled, and obviously Uceta, not pretty. We'll go top of the 9th, tied at 5, 2 on, 2 away for Jimmy Crooks, who crushes this ball into right, and it's just foul, not even 2 feet off against Ezra Valenzuela, who obviously isn't looking his best. He's allowed these 2 base runners. Crooks down the line and fair, past the diving glove of Schneemann. Trout misplays it at the wall. That'll score a run. Cardinals look to get 2. Not even close. What were they thinking? It's still an RBI double for Jimmy Crooks, who puts the Cardinals ahead 6-5. So we're going to go in the bottom of the 9th, hoping for a chance, and we would get one. This feels eerily familiar. Well, that's because it is. In the last episode, we were down 6-5 with 2 outs. Dane Myers on second, Ed Dooley on the mound, and Cam Smith at the plate. This is deja vu. This is literally the same scenario that we had in the previous game. Smith last time flew out to center. We'll see if it's a different result this go around as he's behind in the count, 1-2. Dooley looks to ring him up again, and he does on the low sinker. And the Cardinals win it once again by the final score of 6-5. Cam Smith really had the exact opportunity to redeem himself from the last game. Same score, same pitcher, same situation, same runner at second base. But unfortunately, we're unable to. This time, the Cardinals out-hit us 13-7, although we did draw 7 walks. Smith had a 3-run homer earlier in the game. I guess I can't get too mad at him. Trout homered again. Waldo did as well. Waldo also homered in the first game here against St. Louis. So now that brings us to the series here against the Blue Jays. Trailing 2-1 here in the top of the 8th. 2 on, nobody out. Big spot here for Shane Schmidt against Johan Duran. And he draws a walk. This feels like a really important game for us, given that we just got swept by St. Louis. Toronto's not a great team. At minimum, we've got to win 2 of these games. Nearly a double play there. Can't even get mad at Edgar. That was a 112-mile-an-hour rocket. The Blue Jays are going to make a switch as the Robert Arias will come out of the bullpen. Cam Smith keeps finding himself in these high-leverage situations today. Well, here's another one. When you get faded at work and get put into a serious situation, first pitch of the at-bat, he hits it well into center field. At the track, at the wall, it is gone! 438, a grand slam for Grand Cam! And the White Sox lead it 5-2. All things considered, with these giant at-bats that Cam Smith has had today, he's done pretty well. Sure, he lost us the 2 games against St. Louis, but in 4 big spots today, he's 2 for 4 with 2 homers and 7 RBIs. So it's hard to be too upset with that result. We would add some more runs. We end up winning the game 7-2, snapping our 3-game losing streak. Big win. Great job offensively late. We got a ton of base runners, 10 hits, 7 walks. Ledroff, Schmidt, and Julks bring home the other ones. Valdez didn't even pitch that well, at least not for his standards, certainly. But the bullpen was phenomenal. The top 4 hitters in the Blue Jays lineup had 9 hits. Andrew Rabbit allowed 1 run in 7 innings. When those 2 things happen, you should win games. Not only did they not win, but they lost by 5. No wonder they're one of the worst teams in the AL. We had to take Trey Jamison off the 40-man roster. We had an extra spot with him coming off the injured list. He ends up getting claimed by the Pirates. I'm okay with that. There's a reason why he's the player I took off. Here we are in this last game against Toronto. We won the second one 5-4. We're looking for the sweep. 4-3, bottom 9. Ezra's been in the game for a little while. He led up the runner at second. And now Dante Nori will look to drive him in and tie it. The Blue Jays knot this one at 4. Nori goes for second, and he is out of there. We're headed to the 10th. Another blown save, however, for Ezra Valenzuela, who continues to struggle. I don't know what's going on with him, but he just looks off. Top of the 10th, Kyle Teal reaches off of a walk. And so we've got 2 on, 1 away for the red-hot Mike Trout. His OPS is like in the mid-900s. He's been on fire these last 2 weeks, and he's not done. This one will go off the wall in left center field. Wagner scores. Teal around third. Going to be really close at the plate, and he is out of there! It is still an RBI double, though, for Mike Trout, and the White Sox lead at 5-4. Trout continues his hot streak. Edgar Caro's got a couple hits today, playing some great baseball in the month of June. The 1-0. Caro puts this one on the ground over to first. It definitely feels like we should have gotten more than 1 in this inning, but we do with the lead going into the bottom of the 10th inning. I set it up to where Bruno Merced would come in for the save. He's been outstanding as of recent. I felt like he deserved the opportunity. I said yes to put him in, but apparently Tony Santillan is in the game. They never put Bruno in to begin with because he is still available in the bullpen if we want him. Tony Santillan is a good high-leverage guy, so, I mean, you could do a lot worse than him, so I guess we'll survive. Ryan Campos swinging and miss. That one gets away from Teal. Runner over to third, going to be close! And he's safe. That was gutsy to send him. I would not have done that. But now he's at third, 90 feet away from home with nobody out, as Campos goes down on the slider. Big pitch, big punch out for Santillan. Nolan Shanuel hitting .310, having a great year. Rips that one into right, and we are tied again. Knotted up at 5. The Blue Jays not making it easy. They do not want to get swept. Back to the top of the order. It's Ryan Bliss. He will hit this one well into right for a single. Runner goes around second, heads for third, and he is safe. 2 on, 1 away. Santillan's not pitching too great, so we're going to go to the bullpen, but not for Merced. Instead, Brian King. I do trust King just a little bit more in a big spot. His pitching clutch is higher, and the Blue Jays do have a lefty here, and the former White Sox, Akil Baddoo, who puts it on the ground. Could be a double play, and it is! 6-4-3, 2 pitches, 2 outs for Brian King, and we are going into the 11th where we would win it. Dane Myers solo homer. Daniel Schneemann 2-run shot to propel us to an 8-5 win. Great finish by Chicago. Myers, Schneemann, Waldo, all homering. Waldo's been outstanding since coming back from injury. He's playing even better than he did earlier. His OPS is like well over 1,000 right now. Noah Schultz was really good. 7 innings, a 2-run ball. He only got away from us in the 9th. Ezra, another rough outing. We won the first game against Arizona 11-1. Now it's 6-7 in the bottom of the 7th. Shane Schmidt needs a triple for the cycle. Chase Mydroff, by the way, has homered twice in this game as well. Given that Shane Schmidt is the slowest man on the planet, I don't think he's going to hit for a triple. But shout out Shane, playing some good ball. His average is up to 221. That is certainly not a triple as he grounds out over to second. We would get another opportunity in the 8th. Mike Trout with an RBI double. Daniel Schneemann with a sac fly. It's now 9-6. We've got 2 on, nobody out. Daniel Nunez out of the bullpen against Schmidt, who pops this one in the air in the 2-1 count, as that one will be caught in center. No cycle for Shane Schmidt, but we do win the game 9-6, and against a great Arizona team who's got a really nice pitching staff this year. We've scored 20 runs in the first 2 games. We were having issues scoring 20 runs over the span of a week through the first 50 games of the year. I mean, it's crazy the night and day difference that we've seen from this team. We're like 500 now at this point. I think we are. I think we're 40-40. That's unbelievable considering we were 18-31 at one point. We're 22-9 since then. That's really, really good. In terms of the stats in this one, we finished with 14 hits. They had 10. Rico Santos had a nice game for Arizona. He's having a great year. First full season as a starter, former first-rounder, might be an all-star. But their pitching obviously could not keep up. Teal homered. Mydroff went deep twice. Schmidt did as well. Schmidt had 3 hits, of course. Triple shy of the cycle, as we know. Bryce Wilson was not great, but the bullpen was, including Ezra. Braden Montgomery, dislocated shoulder. That's unfortunate. He'll be out for the next month or 2. He hasn't even played all that well, though, in AAA. So we ended up winning the last game against Arizona, completing the sweep, and we are over 500 at 41-40 at the official halfway point of the season. We are only 2.5 back of a wild card spot. We've made up like 3 games within like 2 weeks. We're 9-3 so far today. Some highlights include this 8-3 win to finish off the sweep against the Rangers. Trout homered in that one. Obviously got swept by the Cardinals, but then back-to-back sweeps against Toronto and Arizona. 11-1, as I mentioned earlier. We dominated this game. Schmidt homered. He had 3 hits. Mydroff had 3 hits and drove in 6, while Hagen Smith threw 7 innings of 1-run ball. It really feels like this team was clicking, and I knew this was always a possibility, even when we were struggling. I didn't think it would happen this quick, though. We're up to 24th in batting average, hitting .246. But all of our other team stats are great. We're 8th in runs. We're tied for 7th in home runs. Like, other than the batting average, which has been consistently going up, this is legitimately a pretty good offense. Cleveland is a little bit ahead of us right now in the division, so I feel like I do really want to play one of those games against Cleveland. I know the Dodgers have their super team, but I feel like I want to see Cleveland. Noah Schultz suffers a finger injury. He'll be out for a week or 2. That's unfortunate with how well he's played. Jagger Haynes will take his spot in the rotation. And we're going to bring up Joey Smith, a second-rounder a couple years ago in 2028. Over his last 10, he has an ERA in the mid-5s. But overall, he's had a really nice year in AAA. I think he's ready for the opportunity to be a big leaguer, so we're going to call him up. Right now, we're in a little bit of an NL West tour, if you will. We just played the Diamondbacks. Our next 3 series are all against teams from the NL West, the best of which is the San Francisco Giants. They're like 20 games above 500. They won the first 2 games of this series, so they're looking for the sweep. All 4 series we have started and finished today have been sweeps, one way or another. We're hoping that will not be the case again. Another high-leverage spot for Cam Smith. It's a comebacker up the middle. Nice scoop by Randy Rodriguez for the first out of the inning. Rodriguez has turned into one of the better bullpen arms in baseball. He's made the All-Star team multiple seasons during this series as Brian Ramos strikes out. Where's Waldo is the question we've been asking whenever Oswaldo Escobedo is up in clutch situations. But he's hitting .375 in those this year. To truly get the boogeyman off his back, though, I think he needs a big hit here. There's Waldo! Crushes it into center field! And the White Sox walk it off! Oswaldo Escobedo with a 2-run homer to avoid the sweep. What a year it has been for Oswaldo Escobedo. But to truly ignite the breakout season, he needed a big hit with a runner in scoring position in a high leverage spot. Well, there it is! Against arguably the best team in baseball, who was on the verge of sweeping us, Oswaldo Escobedo has homered again. He's gone deep like 4 or 5 times over the last 2 weeks. He has been outstanding as of recent, and it feels like this is the height of the production we've gotten this season for Waldo so far. We had 2 hits the whole game. We had 1 hit through the first 9 innings. That's not good, but we still found a way to win the game. Cam Smith homer was the only other one back in the 4th. Pitching was really solid. Hagen Smith pitched great again. He's been on fire. Ezra Valenzuela, 2 really strong innings to get the win. So now that brings us to this series against the Dodgers. We lead the first game 5-4. They've got 2 on for their number 8 hitter, Mookie Betts. Yes, he's the 8th hitter. He's like 37. He's gotten a little worse, but he's still Mookie Betts as he gets plunked. That'll bring up the 9 hitter, Will Smith. This lineup is just not fair. I don't know how this team isn't better. That one is grounded up the middle. Wagner has it go by him for a single, and we are tied at 5. The bases remain loaded. Back to the top of the order, where it's pretty much an all-star team across the board with the Dodgers. So we are going to bring in an all-star pitcher. Yeah, Ezra has not been great this year. He hasn't been great in this episode. But I do trust him to get out of this spot. When we're playing against the best hitters in baseball, we need, in my opinion, one of the best pitchers in baseball to get us out of this spot. As Ronald Acuna belts it down the line, that is a fair ball. 2-run score, and LA takes the lead at 7-5. Smith is safe at 3rd. Big-time swing from Acuna. Jake McCarthy now 0-1. Liner to 3rd. Ramos tags Smith for an inning-ending double play. That was quick. Dodgers do get 3, however. And unfortunately, that would be enough for them to win this first game 7-5. The Dodgers are roughly 10, 12 games over 500. I don't know how that is. They had, like, the greatest team ever. The fact that they have not, like, consistently won every World Series in this series is mind-blowing. I don't get it. I get their pitching staffs have been a little lackluster throughout the series, but they've still been one of the 5 best pitching units in baseball. This year, their pitching staff, I think, is ranked 2nd. Yet they are good, but like the second wild card good. Not super team good. They still win this game, though. We scored 5 runs in the first inning, by the way, and nothing after that. Everybody had a hit. Ramos, it looks like, had a grand slam. Smith would have driven in the other run. He also drew a walk. We had a lot of base runners, but clearly struggled with them. As for the Dodgers, 7 runs, 15 hits. That's a lot in their lineup that features Acuna and Shohei and Gunnar and Bregman and Vladimir Guerrero. And oh yeah, guess who pitched? A guy by the name of Paul Skeens, who didn't even make it out of the first inning. Then their long reliever, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, pitched 5 1/3 scoreless innings. To be fair, it's not like they're hoarding 90 overalls in the bullpen. Yoshi's only a 77. He's declined a lot and hasn't been that good through the course of this series, but still kind of crazy to think about because he's making all that money. 3-2, we had the lead here in the last game. We lost the second one, so we're looking to avoid the sweep. Against 2 contenders in the NL West, and the Giants and the Dodgers, we have been disappointing, 1-4. We're going to get the save with the struggling Ezra Valenzuela as the 5-hitter, Shohei Ohtani. Hits it into right. Smith will make the catch. Yeah, Shohei's the 5-hitter. He's regressed a little bit. His OPS is only at like 1030 this year. Nothing spectacular for his standards. Masataka Yoshida hitting nearly 320. Has an even count, 2-2. Got him on the cutter. And the Dodgers are down to their final out. That'll bring you up the number 7 hitter. Which all-star will this be? Oh, it's Alex Bregman. He's 1 for 3 so far. The 3-2 pitch is hit well into left field. And the Dodgers walk it off. A 2-run shot for Bregman to win it 4-3. Just days after we avoid a sweep with the walk-off homer by Escobedo, the Dodgers walk it off to get the sweep. 1-5 against two of the best teams in baseball. Certainly a little disappointing, and certainly a buzzkill for a team who had a lot of momentum and had been playing well against good teams like the Rangers and the Diamondbacks in recent weeks. Sure, I get the Dodgers had the most talented roster assembled in the history of Major League Baseball, but I would have liked to have won one, at least, and we could have won this one, but unfortunately Ezra's a troll, and he continues to struggle. We hit the ball a lot better than they did through the course of the game. We had 12 hits. They only had 7. Edgar Caro, 4 for 5 with a homer, a double, 2 RBIs, 2 runs. He played really well. He has been amazing as of recent. His average was barely above 200 for a while. Now it's 254, which is a big difference. Smith driving in the other run. Wisniewski had a good start. Bullpen was good. And then Ezra choked it. His ERA at 3.89. That is not good enough. Dodgers only had 7 hits and 2 walks. They didn't get a lot of base runners, but they still found a way to win the game. 5 innings, 3 earned from Jose Carmona, the generational pitching prospect who they drafted a couple years ago, the same year that we got Shane Schmidt. Yeah, the Dodgers are going to have a 99 overall pitcher on their team in a few years. Good luck. So here we are in Game 1 against the Rockies. Bases loaded, down by 2. Elliot Ramos to third. Schneemann gets it over to second, and that'll wrap up the inning. I don't know why it says out of play. Still 6-4. These uniforms, by the way, on like a Friday night when the sun is setting and the sky is dark, those uniforms are like perfect. We win the game 7-6. Schneemann adds an RBI. Rockies made it a little closer with a 2-run homer by Jose Caballero in the bottom of the 9th. Would you like to guess which pitcher allowed said 2-run homer? Yeah, it was that guy. Ezra Valenzuela does get the save, which is the important thing. But no, he did not pitch well. That's back-to-back days where he allows 2-run homers. Waldo had 2 triples. Julks had 2 triples. The two of them had 0 triples going into the year. Schneemann had 4 hits. Julks homered. Jagger Haynes pitched really well. Santillan struggled. And then Ezra continues to play really bad. Rockies only had 7 hits, but they ended up with 6 runs. Nick Lodolo, 2 innings, 10 hits, 6 earned. But their bullpen did a really good job after that. Tied at 3, top of the 9th. Here in the second game of the series, Brian Ramos finds himself up in a big spot. 2 on, 2 away, in a full count. Ramos 1 for 4 this afternoon against Victor Vodnik as he lines this one well into center, but that one is not going to drop as it is caught. The Rockies get out of the inning, and we'll see if they potentially have a chance to win it later in this game. 5, 6, 7 due up, including Davis Schneider, the back-to-back World Series MVP with the Phillies. Maybe he'll win a 3rd straight one with the Rockies. Colorado hasn't been that bad this year. As we go into the top of the 10th, so they didn't do anything in the 9th. We've got 2 on and 2 out again, this time for Corey Julks. Julks had a big game in the first one, 2 triples and a homer. As he grounds this one over to second, it's bobbled. Throw to first is in time, and Colorado gets out of it. Now we will travel into the top of the 11th. 2 on, 2 out again. And hey, look who's up. How does he keep finding himself in these big spots? It's Cam Smith. He's been playing some good ball lately. The average all the way up to 221, which it started the day in like the 170s or something. His OPS is in the 700s. It's gone up by like 100 points over the last few weeks. This one hit really high, maybe a mile high. Get it into the air as it is caught. So we don't score in either the 10th or the 11th inning. That's pretty disappointing. We'll travel all the way to the bottom of the 12th. Still the same score. Both of these offenses are really letting their pitching staffs down here in these extra innings, but now it's the Rockies with an opportunity to strike. They've got 2 on, 1 away. Abner Uribe, whose pitching clutch rating is 99, against Max Schumann, who launches it into left center field, and the Rockies walk it off. They win it 6-3. That's the 3rd game in the last week that's ended in a walk-off homer. This one, again, ends with a loss. Schumann, of all people, who would have thought, is the hero for the Rockies. It's hard to be too upset with the pitching, though. We had 3 chances in those extra innings to do something, and we just didn't. Edgar Caro played really well again. He had 2 hits, a homer, and 3 walks. 10 hits, 8 walks. It's inexcusable. We had 18 base runners and only scored 3. Hagen Smith was okay. Bullpen, again, really wasn't that bad. But our offense, with 18 base runners, did not do enough. Here we are in the last game, tied at 3 again. Top of the 9th, 2 away. I thought about bringing in a pinch hitter here because there's a lefty on the mound, but You got to trust your star players. Kyle Teal, first pitch, swings, and first pitch crushed. That'll go in the top deck. How far? 494. Hello! A 6-3 lead for the White Sox. That has to be the longest homer of this series. No, I think we've gotten around the 490 range before. I don't know if we've gotten 494. Good God. Honestly, I thought it was going to be even farther once I saw it in the top deck. I was bracing for that first number to be a 5. But nonetheless, all home runs are created equal. Kyle Teal was as impressive as of his swing as you'll see against the lefty, no less, which is certainly not his strong suit. Angel Chivili will come out of the bullpen for the Rockies. He's been okay this year, 4.19 ERA. Lefties are hitting .338 off of him, and we happen to have a lefty up. It's Shane Schmidt. He's definitely not hitting .338 overall, nowhere close. As he grounds out over to first base, Rockies make the play. We've got the lead, though, 6-3 with an impressive 2-out, 400 and gazillion foot home run by Kyle Teal. And luckily, we would win the game by the final score of 6-3. Believe it or not, we were able to bring Ezra Valenzuela in, and he didn't screw it up. 1-2-3, bottom of the 9th for Ezra, showing that, hey, maybe he's not completely broken just yet. Teal 2 for 4, obviously the big homer. Dane Myers went deep as well. 12 hits, 5 walks, got a lot of base runners again. Bryce Wilson was good against the team that he has played for over the last 3 years. The Rockies started Cy Cook, former top pick, who seemingly is turning into a pretty good player. Now we've got Toronto again. We won the first game of 4, 5-2. And we're probably going to win this second game as well. We're up 9-6. Corey Julks has played really well. He's homered twice, looking for a third. And it does not look like he'll get it. He flies out into right, and that one should be caught. But we're in a good spot. We're up by 3 against one of the worst teams in baseball at home. We've got Ezra Valenzuela on the mound for the save. All he has to do is not allow 3 runs, and we're go. Wow, they won. Okay, seriously, what is the deal with this guy? What has happened to him? He allows 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Antoine Sonnenberg homers, Akil Baddoo homers, Sal Stewart homers, Jonathan Clase homers twice. Trey Savage was okay. Bullpen didn't play very well for Toronto. But what is the deal with this dude? He allows 4 hits, 4 runs. His ERA is 4.81. We can't have him close games anymore. He will be demoted, and Jojo Romero will be the new closer. ERA of 9 over his last 10, and it's pretty easy to see what the issue is. He's allowed 5 homers in this stretch. He's already allowed more homers than he did in all of last year. All of his other numbers are fine. It's really just the long balls and the fact that there are guys on base when he's allowing these homers. So we did end up winning the other games against Toronto, so that's good. We're 46-47. I would have liked to have played better against the Giants and the Dodgers, but we're still certainly within reach. 2 games of the wild card. We would only have to pass 2 teams, one of which is Cleveland. 47-45. They are ahead of us in the division, of course, as well. So this 4-game series prior to the All-Star break is a pretty darn big one. There's a lot at stake. We need to pass them if we want any chance at either the division or the wild card, and this is our best chance to make up ground against them when we're playing against them. So we're going to play in this first game. I want to set the tone in this series, and I want to start strong. We haven't pitched with Hagen Smith yet this year. He's been really good as of recent. A few guys have been really impressive. Caro's hitting .481 over his last 7. Mydroff, .361 over his last 11. But Hagen Smith has been really solid. He did not look great through the first couple of months of the year. I thought about moving him back to the bullpen because Jagger Haynes has pitched pretty well as of recent. But over his last 6 starts, he's 3-0. He's averaging over 5.5 innings per start. If we can even get 70% of this production from him the rest of the year, that would be huge as the number 4 starter. We've got a few teams who we need to surpass, including Cleveland. And this is our best opportunity to do so. 4 games at home right before the All-Star break. We might not get another chance to pass these guys again. So because of that, you're probably wondering why we're starting the B team. No Kyle Teal, no Cam Smith, no Barney Wagner. We have not had an off day in like a week. And I do expect those guys to play at some point during this game, but I felt like they needed a rest, and we're definitely going to need them over the last 3 games against the Guardians. As Travis Bazzana lifts that one into center, Caught by Myers, the former #1 pick, looking to make his first career All-Star game this year. We'll travel to the bottom of the first. We'll take a look at Cleveland's starting pitcher this afternoon. That being the talented veteran Freddie Peralta, who's having a pretty solid year. 3.98 ERA, 1.42 whip. Nothing spectacular, definitely not his best season, but certainly solid. As Corey Julks starts the game with a walk. It's all about stacking base runners early. I want to get out to an early lead against these guys. Even though Hagen Smith is playing really well over the last month, I still don't know how much I trust him. Shane Schmidt goes down on the slider. I was hoping his hot streak would continue. It hasn't. He's down to 218. Edgar Caro is all the way up to 264, however. He's been one of the best hitters maybe in the league over the last month as he strikes out. Mike Trout draws a walk. He's up to 293. He was hitting 200 3 weeks ago. Mike Trout is playing out of this world. 2 on, 2 away. Oswaldo Escobedo. It's this one high into the air, and that one should be caught, and it will. Credit to Waldo, though. His hot streak has not stopped. He's still hitting almost 350. George Valera places this one into right. That'll go for a bloop single. Valera's really turned into a nice player. Of course, he was one of our best hitters in the Guardians franchise a few years ago. John Kenzie Noel lines this one to second. My drop over to Montgomery at short. 2 scoreless innings so far for Hagen Smith, pitching fairly well as we go to the bottom half of the inning. Dane Myers is not Luis Robert, but he's continued to give us a very solid veteran presence in the lineup who plays good defense. Pretty much exactly what we signed up for when we signed him. As he flies out to center, caught by Valera. Still scoreless. We will move into the third now. Both pitchers looking pretty good up to this point. As it's Ralphie Velasquez, the catcher, up for Cleveland. 3-2. Swing and a miss. Velasquez has bounced around a little bit during his big league career, as that will bring us back to the top of the order. Brian Ortiz, the former top pick of the Rockies, who is kind of in a bust. He goes down looking. Hagen Smith, 3 shutties so far for the lefty. Will go bottom half. Chase Mydroff bloops this one into left center. That goes for a hit. Mydroff's a guy who's flipped around the big leagues in AAA for a while, but he's been really good. Caro with a sharp grounder, gets by the shortstop, and it rolls all the way to the wall. Mydroff around third, headed for the plate. It's an RBI double for Edgar Caro, and the White Sox lead it 1-0. Caro continuing his extremely impressive play as of recent. Top of the fourth, Jeremy Pena up for Cleveland, and this one will get by Mydroff, who tries to dive for it, even though he really wasn't close. It is a leadoff single for Pena, just the second base runner of the game for Cleveland. O'Neill immediately puts it on the ground, and that should be 2 to end the inning. It does. A 6-4-3 double play, 4 scoreless for Hagen Smith, continuing his extremely impressive stretch. He hasn't pitched this well since he was a rookie, when, of course, he looks like a future ace. Obviously, that hasn't materialized, but he's been great as of recent. Ramos pops out, caught behind the plate by Austin Wells, and it remains 1-0. A low-scoring pitching duel will move now into the fifth. George Valera starts things off for Cleveland, hitting .270 this year. As that one gets over the glove of Ramos, it'll roll all the way to the wall in left field, and Valera will make his way over to second for a leadoff double. And the Guardians have a runner in scoring position with nobody out and a great chance to potentially tie the game or more. Carl Rhodes sends it into right. Trout after it, does not make the play. He's certainly not as fast as he once was. It's an RBI double for Rhodes. This game is tied at 1. And to make matters worse, Mike Trout hurt himself as he was diving on the play. Looks like it might be a hip injury, so his day is done. I guess we're going to need Cam Smith a little bit earlier than expected. He'll replace him in right. 2 away now. Ralphie Velasquez hits this one to right field. Cam Smith is after it. He'll make the play. Guardians do get 1, though. We are tied now at 1 apiece, and we'll go to the bottom half of the frame. Freddie Peralta, quietly, we haven't really talked about him a lot in this game, but he's pitching really well for Cleveland. We'll see if he can keep it going. 8-9 hitters due up. Dane Myers exactly hitting .250. Sends that one back up the middle for a single. Just the 3rd hit of the game for the White Sox. That'll bring up Chase Mydroff, whose average is up to .328 on the year. He goes down to the high fastball. Mydroff has switched between the majors and the minors in recent years a lot, but with how well he's played, I kind of have a hard time thinking he'll be down in AAA at all the rest of the year. That one gets away from Austin Wells behind the plate. Myers will advance over to second base, and we've got a runner in scoring position here with one away and a nice chance to potentially regain our lead back. 2-1 now for Corey Julks. Walk back in the first. Myers looking to double down. Double or nothing. It's nothing. He's out at third. So I guess the wild pitch ended up not working out for us, clearly. And we would have scored a run had he just stayed at second because Corey Julks singles into center. So that's a little disappointing. But, I mean, at least we have a runner on with 2 outs, I guess. Shane Schmidt, he's ahead 3-1, and he draws a walk. So that'll put 2 on. Huge opportunity here for the number 3 hitter, Edgar Caro. Full count, both runners go into center. Valera will make the play. We had 3 runners in that inning and didn't score any of them. That is really disappointing. Game remains tied at 1. I'm going to keep Hagen Smith in for the 6th. His pitch count's only at 82. I think he's got at least one more inning out of him. That one gets by Schmidt, and it goes over the top of the base from Ortiz, who will make it over to second with a leadoff double. Took a interesting bounce, I suppose, but, I mean, it's a double nonetheless. 2 away for Tyler O'Neill, who splits the gap in right center, and the Guardians will take their first lead of the game. An RBI double for Tyler O'Neill, who makes it 2-1. I wanted to keep Hagen Smith in for that last inning. It didn't quite work out. So we're going to take him out here. 5 2/3 innings, 2 runs so far. He pitched a good game overall, but did slow down towards the end. Bruno Merced will replace him. He was definitely up and down early, but over the last month or two, as our team has played well, he's been one of the most consistent arms in the bullpen. He's really turned into a really good player for us as George Valera flies into left. Julks will make the play. Guards do take the lead, though, 2-1. It's Tyler O'Neill with the big hit. Cleveland makes a pitching change as well. Colby Allard, the lefty, is out of the pen. And I think he deserves a lot of credit as a former top prospect that looked like a bust early on, but has really carved out a nice long-term role in Cleveland as he gets Cam Smith to go down on the curveball. That pitch was filthy. Had a ton of movement. Oswaldo Escobedo, count is full with 1 away, and Waldo goes down on the high cutter. Has not been his day. We haven't really been able to say that a lot about him recently with how well he's played. The former Guardian, Daniel Schneemann now. Count is full, 3-2. Schneemann belts this one, but it's caught at second. To think we kind of traded for Daniel Schneemann all the way back early in year 3 to be a Band-Aid, I think because we had some injuries. And now he's just stuck around for the last 3.5 years and has obviously been a pretty solid player for us. I think in hindsight, Cleveland probably doesn't make that trade again. Into the 7th, Merced stays in the game. He gets Carl Rhodes to go down looking. Good pitch there by Bruno, his first punch out of the game. Austin Wells is now up with 2 away. Having a nice year, hitting .251, one of the higher marks in the league at the catcher position. Pops this one up, though, into foul territory. Brian Ramos is under it, and he will make the play. Low-scoring game. Neither offense really has been all that good. It remains 2-1. As we go to the bottom half, we will stretch, and then we will see Chase Mydruff. Count is full, 2 away against Allard. Oh, he wanted to swing at that pitch really bad. Credit to him for holding back, as it is a walk. Allard's taken out of the game. He'll be replaced by Slade Ciccone. 4.73 ERA on the year. Back to the top of the order. It's Corey Julks, the 1-1. Popped it up. And that one will likely be caught by somebody. It'll be at third. And that'll end the inning. I really thought about bringing Kyle Teal in there because I don't know when we're going to get a better opportunity to do it. But Corey Julks has been one of our better hitters this year. I wanted to trust him. Doesn't pay off. Joey Smith comes out of the pen in the 8th. He's been really good. 5 2/3 innings. He's only allowed 1 hit, 2 walks, and 1 run as he strikes out Velasquez. I don't know if he's going to go back to AAA. Even once we're healthy pitching-wise and Noah Schultz comes back, I kind of want to keep him up. He gets Ortiz to go down as well, looking to strike out the side. He will not. But he does retire the side, assuming Myers catches it, and he will. Joey Smith continues to look the part here in the big leagues. Another 1-2-3 inning for the former second-round pick, who certainly looks like he has been worth that draft capital. Bottom 8, still 2-1. Shane Schmidt goes down looking. I thought that was a ball. Wow, that is a tough call by the umpire. Cam Smith now, behind in the count 1-2. He's drawn a couple of walks, but not this time. He goes down on the slider. Still 2-1. We'll go into the 9th. Last chance here for the White Sox It'll be Edwin Uceta out of the bullpen, who has pitched well as of recent. Remember, he allowed the big double at the beginning of the episode against the Cardinals. ERA went into the mid-4s. He was really struggling. But since then, he's played some great ball, all the way down to 3.38. With one out, Tyler O'Neill gets that one to fall, a single into left. So Cleveland gets themselves a runner here, looking to add some insurance, even though we haven't hit the ball well. You never know. One run is not that hard to get. 3 is a little bit harder. So Carl Rhodes' 2-run shot certainly comes at a good spot for Cleveland. It's 4-1. 389 feet for Rhodes, who drove in a run earlier in the game. His first home run of the year. And the Guardians are now in control here in the first of 4 in Chicago in a series where we really need to win 2 or 3. Not looking great here in the first one as Big Christmas strikes out. This year it's been Big Grinch because he's hitting like 130. Big homer, though, by Carl Rhodes. We go into the bottom of the 9th, trailing by 3, and we've got to face off against this demon. Hunter Gaddis signed a big extension with Cleveland in the offseason, and he has been maybe the best pitcher on the planet. 23 of 24 in save ops. He has allowed 2 runs this year. 2. We're over halfway through the year. One away. Wagner swinging a miss on the slider. Hunter Gaddis is making quick work through this lineup. Kyle Teal off the bench, draws a walk. Okay, well, I mean, there's a runner. I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? It's certainly an uphill battle. Myers draws a walk. Okay, we're making it a little interesting. Tying run is at the plate. I don't want to get too excited, but we're getting something going. Mydrop singles into right. Okay, that's 3 straight runners off of Gaddis. We've got to score them all, which is easier said than done, but we're making things a little bit interesting. Top of the order, Corey Julks. That one gets away. We're not going to send the runners because that would be stupid. Mydrop at first is the runner that really matters. But it does kind of feel like Gaddis has the yips right now. His control's been all over the place. He's allowed 2 walks. He's in danger of letting up a 3rd. Julks swinging a miss on the slider. Good pitch. And we find ourselves down to the final strike. We've been down to the final batter for the last 4 guys now. But we've been hanging on for dear life. Ooh, good take. That pitch was in the zone. That should have ended the game. Clearly, strike 3. Julks lets it go. Count is full. Runners go. Julks over the glove of Rhodes at 3rd. That'll score 1. How about 2? Mydrop safe at 3rd. And the White Sox are within 1. It's 4-3. And we've got the tying run at 3rd, the winning run at 1st. 4 straight runners have reached base now. Hunter Gaddis, who's allowed 2 runs all year coming into the game, just allowed 2 more right there, and he's going to be taken out. It's not a blown save yet. Cleveland still has the lead, but it's a lot dicier than it was 2 minutes ago. Calvin Foucher is now in for the save. ERA at around 5 this year. He's been a little bit worse than Hunter Gaddis, but he's just got to get 1 out. And that's it. Cleveland would be fine. Shane Schmidt only hitting .216 this year, the 2-1. Okay, looks at the cutter. Probably should have swung the bat. That was a very hittable pitch. Count is now even. 2-2. Tying run, 90 away from home. Winning run at 1st. As that one is outside. Good take. Count is now full. Don't want to swing at anything bad, but be aggressive if the time is right. The 3-2 for Schmidt. It's outside for ball 4. And the winning run is in scoring position. The bases are loaded again for Edgar Caro, who had our only RBI before this inning, all the way back in the 3rd. Down by 1, bases loaded, 2 away, bottom 9th. The 1-1. Caro into the gap! This ball is gonna drop! Mydrop scores! The winning run is in! That's Julks! 5-4! What a win for the White Sox! The Cardiac Kids hanging on for dear life. We had to get 6 guys in a row on base, and we do. We were down by 3 with nobody out. Kyle Teal comes off the bench, sets the table with a walk. Dane Myers draws a walk. Chase Mydrop base hit to load the bases. Corey Julks drives in 2 with an RBI single. Shane Schmidt advances the winning run with a walk, and Edgar Caro finishes it off. We did not play well, really at all. But we found a way to win that game. Good teams win games that they should not win, especially a big game like this against the Cleveland team who we are fighting with in the standings. We may very well be within one game of them at the end of the year. So who knows? This 2-out rally and comeback could prove to be the difference. We did not hit the ball well throughout the course of the game, but we drew 7 walks, 3 of which came in that 9th inning rally. Hagen Smith played well. Bullpen was fine. We did allow the 2-run homer. The offense was really the problem, but still. Also, Mike Trout is not on the injury report, which is very good. I was kind of worried about him. So we'll simulate up to the All-Star break. 3 more games against Cleveland. Here we are in Game 2. We are up 5-2. The bases are loaded for Brian Ramos, who's had a great game. He's a triple shy of the cycle against Shane Drohan. He's facing off against the lefty, so I don't really like our chances as he pops this one into the outfield. That ball is caught by Valera. They're not going to look to tag in the runner. We do win the game, though, 6-2, when we take the first 2 of 4 against the Guardians. So at the absolute worst case, we will stay even with them going into the series, but obviously I would love more. We've now passed the Guardians in the standings. We are up to 3rd in the division, now only trailing Kansas City and Detroit. Good win pitching-wise. Bryce Wilson performing well. Jojo Romero, the new closer, is the one with the save. Bazana driving in both runs. Really the only guy to show up offensively for Cleveland. Ramos obviously homered. Teal, Wagner, Escobedo also bringing runs. 5 scoreless for Wilson. Ezra comes in the 6th, his first middle inning appearance, and he allowed a run. He wasn't very good. Here in the 3rd game, we are down 1-0. Cleveland scored in the top half of the 10th to take the lead. We wasted another dominant outing from Framber Valdez. But we can tie it here. Wagner leads off the inning with a single. We're going to hold Waldo at 3rd. He would have been out. With nobody away, there's just not a reason to risk it. I mean, there's no reason we don't drive him in. He's 90 feet away from home. It would be pretty embarrassing if we didn't. Jesus Christ. Schneemann puts it on the ground. This could be 2. This could end it. The Guardians win it 1-0 in 10. Framber Valdez has had multiple dominant outings that have been wasted away by our hitting. Granted, not as much so over the last month and a half, but still, not ideal. Joey Cantillo, 6 scoreless himself. The bats just were not very good. Sometimes you are the bug, and sometimes you are the windshield. I don't even know if we were the bug, because at least the bug made it onto the windshield. We didn't even do that. We got ran over by the wheel of the car. Valdez, 6 scoreless. Bullpen pitched really well, too, but unfortunately, it's not enough. So one day before the All-Star break, we're back in last, but only by 5 games at 48-48. Everybody in this division so close. Noah Schultz is back healthy as we make it to the 2030 MLB draft. We have not talked about any of these prospects yet, so this should be interesting. We have the 29th pick in the first round. We have nothing in the second round because we signed Framber Valdez, who was on the qualifying offer. But we have 2 picks in the compensatory round because of qualifying offers we would have given to some combination of Luis Robert, Bryce Miller, and Taj Bradley. I don't know why we don't have 3. If anyone knows why, let me know in the comments. I didn't bother looking at a lot of the top prospects in this class because we pick at 29th. Cedric Keneally goes number 1. He was a mid-round pick a few years ago. I remember scouting him. I thought he was pretty solid. Didn't end up signing. Clearly worked out. He's the top pick to the Blue Jays. Carlos Nieto, number 2 to the Angels. He was projected to go at 40. The Angels usually reach on guys, and they end up stinking, so I don't really trust them. And then Mariano Castilla goes number 3 to the Yankees. So here we are with the 29th pick in the first round. And there are a couple guys I really got my eye on. In terms of our scouts' favorite player, there was a guy projected to go in this range who they have as the 3rd overall player in the class, and he is still on the board. So obviously, Esteban Saldana is the name who's going to pop out early. 20-year-old left-handed pitcher, only 3 pitches, but I like this skill set. Looking around at some other guys, though, Connie Hodge is catching my eye. 22 years old, experienced. His ratings look amazing. He could be really good right off the bat, like an immediate starter for us. And for a team who's in a title window, who needs pitching, he could be perfect. So it's a tough choice here, but with the 29th pick, the Chicago White Sox select Esteban Saldana. And the reason why I'm choosing him over Hodge is because we've scouted him. And I feel a lot more comfortable with knowing what we have with him. The idea of Connie Hodge is a high-level pitcher immediately. but there's a reason why he's fallen here. He was the projected 5th pick. Why is he here at 29? I feel like there's something wrong with him. So I just don't think it's really worth taking the risk. We're going to make it all the way to number 74. Hodge ended up being the very next pick to the Phillies. So I'm fascinated to see how good he ends up being and if we're going to regret that. Here we are in the compensatory round with back-to-back picks, 74 and 75. With the 74th pick, the Chicago White Sox select Alexis Caballero, a third baseman from the Dominican Republic, 20 years old, 6 foot, 200. He's a little bit raw. I think he's a ways to go until he's a contributor, but I like the upside. And then with the 75th pick, the Chicago White Sox select Andy Dukes, right-handed starting pitcher from Ohio. I say starting pitcher, not reliever, because look at the stamina rating. This guy could start. He's got a bunch of good pitches. His grades look really good. And the floor, our scouts think, is a 78. They think this guy can be a starter for us right away. Sure, he could be a good reliever, but I think he has more value in the rotation. Fernando Ojeda will be our 3rd round pick. He's the only starting pitcher left, like in the entire draft. And I think he's good enough to go here. Chad Huntley will be our pick in the 4th round. He has a high ceiling. He is 23, though. Orlando Ponce will be our pick in the 5th round. We've picked some high upside catchers in the past. Hasn't fully transpired yet. I mean, Teal and Kara are both young, but Ponce is 10 years younger, so theoretically, if he develops, the 2% chance he has hitting could be hitting big and being the long-term replacement. I accidentally simmed past our last pick. The game gave us Jeff Frost. Honestly, I don't mind it because I think he could be pretty good right off the bat. He has really good power. I'm kind of intrigued by him. I really like our draft. Esteban Saldana, I think, has a really high ceiling. Caballero does as well. And then Andy Dukes, I think, could contribute as soon as next year, whether it's as a starter or in the bullpen. If our scouts are right, we're getting a guy who can play immediately. So with the return of Noah Schultz, I'm going to send Joey Smith down to the minors. I don't want to because he's been really good, and I think he'll be back up pretty soon. But I don't really know who else I would send down. We lost the last game against Cleveland, 6-2, so we're 48 and 49 going into the break. Unfortunately, we stay even with the Guardians. We could have passed them, but we kind of blew it here at the end. And a big reason why we lost this last game was, take a guess, out of the bullpen, Ezra Valenzuela allowed 2 more runs. His ERA is now in the 5s. This is a disaster. Over his last 10, his ERA on the year is at like 15. He's allowed more earned runs than each of his first 2. It's at 12, okay. Not quite 15, but still really bad. We've tried just about everything with him. Nothing's working. I don't think I have a choice. I think we need to send him down to the minor leagues to figure things out. I certainly did not see this coming at all going into the year, but he's been horrible. He has not been a major league caliber pitcher. Joey Smith, welcome back. He was in the minors for 1 whole day. I was right. He did come back quickly. I didn't think he'd be that quick. That brings us to the All-Star break now in Cleveland. Boo. Home Run Derby, we do not have anybody in the Derby. We'll take a look at the Derby results shortly. But first, we'll start with the All-Star rosters. And remember, I will be, of course, doing my ratings updates for guys who have played well and deserve to go up, including Framber Valdez, who gets a +1 boost. Another All-Star nod for Valdez, his 5th of his career. Pretty easy choice. He has regressed a lot this year, but with my rating system, guys who are old but play well, they'll generally get those rating points back. So by the end of the year, Valdez will probably still be in the 90s, joined by Shota Imanaga, Tarek Skubal, Jack Flaherty, and Quinn Priester. We did not get anybody out of the bullpen. No Jojo Romero, no Brian King. Ezra Valenzuela was set to make the All-Star game going into the episode, and now he's not even on the Major League roster. Kyle Teal is in, 3rd time in his career, well-deserved, especially considering he was so bad early in the year. He's completely turned it around. His numbers in terms of his slash line are still lower than the first 2 years, but he was also trolling for the first 40 games of the year. No Edgar Caro, though, which is a surprise, and I really feel like he got snubbed. Like, Ivan Herrera behind him is splitting reps with Francisco Mejia for the Yankees, and he was not the only All-Star for the Yankees. It's not like they needed him as their representative. So I don't know why Caro, who did get more votes, didn't get the spot. We did not end up with any other position players, which, I mean, I don't know who else would be there, so I don't disagree. So only 2 All-Stars for us as we take a look at the NL team. Reynaldo Lopez was one of the worst pitchers in baseball last year, and now he's an All-Star. Good for him. That is quite the turnaround. Rico Santos, first year as a full-time starter, and that's pretty dope. With the Diamondbacks, a big reason for their turnaround. Tamar Johnson, former top pick of the Pirates, has finally gotten an opportunity to shine, and he has. Ezequiel Tovar had some bad seasons in this series. Cool to see him there. And then my GOAT, Fernando Tatis Jr., the only player in the entire league who's higher than a 97. Nobody else is a 98 or a 99. So we'll start with the home run derby here in Cleveland. Brooks Lee is the number 1 seed. He leads all players in homers, I think, with 29. He has finished with exactly 29 to 31 homers in each of the 3 seasons before this one. So he should finish above that unless he gets hurt, which would be unfortunate. Although they are in our division, and I think they're pretty much tied with us in the standings. So, I mean, I'm not rooting for it, but it would benefit us. Some of the other big names include Aaron Judge, Corey Seager, Gunnar Henderson, Yordan Alvarez, and of course, Pete Alonso's annual Super Bowl. The winner ended up being of the New York Mets, Yordan Alvarez, who beats Corey Seager in the final round. Alonso and Gunnar also in the second round. 9 and 7 home runs, respectively, from those two. Yikes. I take it that the home run derby was more like the out derby. It seems like most of the guys didn't really do that well. But Yordan Alvarez will hoist the trophy as the champ. It's kind of crazy the Mets have spent all this money on guys like him and Garrett Crochet and others, and they just haven't been very good in this series. Like, I get Juan Soto has turned into a not even replacement level player, which obviously is a big reason why they haven't been all that good. But still, like, the rest of their roster is really strong. Francisco Lindor is still good. That'll now bring us into the All-Star game. Of course, we have 2 All-Stars, which is low. Of course, we'd be hoping for more. But other than Edgar Caro and maybe like Brian King or something, it's not like we really had many other snubs elsewhere. The cool thing, though, is that not only do we have 2 All-Stars, not only are they both starting in this game, but they are the battery for the American League. Framber Valdez will be the starting pitcher, and Kyle Teel will be the starting catcher. I was a little surprised to see Valdez as a starter because Shota Imanaga with the Rays got more votes. I didn't set it to make Valdez the starter. The game did automatically. I really don't know why, because Imanaga got more votes. I'm not complaining, obviously, but I was a little taken aback by it. He'll face off against Jared Jones with the San Francisco Giants, who's been under Paul Skeens' shadow throughout the entire series. The Pirates traded both of those guys away at the deadline. Both of those guys signed to the NL West. Skeens with the Dodgers, Jones with the Giants, and normally the Giants are under the Dodgers' shadow, but the Giants had the lead in the division, and a big reason for that is because Jared Jones has been the best pitcher in baseball, which is a pretty cool story. Here is Framber Valdez, his 5th career All-Star nod, first with the White Sox. He's, of course, having a really good year. 2.48 ERA, which is probably the highest it's been all year. 1.1 whip, 95 strikeouts. He will face off against Ronald Acuna to start this game. The 1-1, Acuna laces this one into left center for a base hit. I think the crazy thing about the All-Star lineups is that both of them are worse than the Dodgers. I'm not kidding. Like, they are literally both worse than the Dodgers. Randy Arozarena leads the National League in OPS. He has aged so well. He strikes out on the curveball. And notice right when the Phillies lose him, they completely collapse. The Phillies are one of the worst teams in the league. Randy Arozarena with the Giants, they're one of the best teams in the league. Nearly a double play, but Alvarez, the home run derby champion, is safe at first against his former Astros teammate in Valdez. Gunnar Henderson, grounder to first. Naylor makes the play, tags the base. Solid start for Framber Valdez. We'll go to the bottom of the first. We'll take a look at Jared Jones. We'll see if Kyle Teel gets an at-bat in the first inning. He's hitting 5th, so it is certainly possible. These numbers are ridiculous. 2.11 ERA, 0.87 whip. Jones was with the Royals the second half of last year. Thank God they didn't re-sign him. So Teel will get an at-bat. Bobby Witt with a leadoff single. Riley Green, who leads all players in WAR with the Athletics, he gets a single. So runners on the corners, 2 away. Teel swings at the low fastball into left, and that one will be caught to end the inning by Yordan Alvarez. We'll give Valdez one more inning. He'll pitch the second. We'll start with another Dodger, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who grounds it to third. Jordan Westburg, in his first year with the Royals, makes the play, throw over to first, and Josh Naylor for the first out. Matt McClain now with the Padres. A lot of free agents from last year on this All-Star team. I told you last year's free agency class might be the best ever. This year's might be the worst ever. as McLean is able to make the play. 2 away now. That'll bring up the number 7 hitter, Dalton Rushing. Now with the Atlanta Braves, he is set to be a free agent soon and will make a ton of money. For reasons like this, in the left field, that one will escape into the corner for a home run. 356 feet for Rushing in the National League. Leads 1-0. The Braves got Rushing in the Acuna trade with the Dodgers, and that deal has truly been a win-win across the board. Dalton Rushing is probably the one catcher in baseball who I can say with confidence is better than Kyle Teel and Edgar Quero. And the Dodgers got Ronald Acuna out of it. Now, obviously, the Braves have not parlayed Dalton Rushing into winning. They're still bad, but it's not Rushing's fault as Jung-Hoo Lee strikes out. Braves and the NL take the lead, though, 1-0. It's now 5-0 in the bottom of the third. A rough top half of the frame for my glorious King Tarek Skubal. Chris Illich and Scott Boras, if you're watching this, you better make sure he does not go anywhere. Anyway, Kyle Teel against Tink Hence at the Cardinals. Liner to first. Guerrero's going to send it over to second, where they only get one. No throw from Gunnar Henderson to try to turn the double play. Teel will get one more at bat. We'll go to the bottom of the fifth. Shane Bieber of the Brewers is on the mound. Riley Green would reach base again. He's at first, and the count is full for Kyle Teel, who is 0 up to this point. 3-2, draws a walk. I hate to not swing the bat with 2 strikes in the All-Star game, and that was close enough to where we could have swung. But we do need base runners. It's Antoine Sonnenberg who's up. I kind of want to hit with him because we almost drafted him all those years ago. Obviously, we picked Barney Wagner instead. And Sonnenberg in his first All-Star game at just, I think, 20 years old, singles into center. That'll score a run. Kyle, what are you doing? I never told him to go to third, by the way. I made him stop at second. Why did he take like 5 steps around the base? Is he stupid? Still an RBI single, though, for Sonnenberg. I guess I'll finish 1 for 1 in my career with Antoine Sonnenberg. So we're in the bottom of the 9th. It's 5-3. And Mark Vientos ties it with a 2-run homer off of Devin Williams. So the AL comes all the way back, down 5-0. As we will move into the 10th. Emmanuel Clase replaced by Miguel Lozano, who's not looking too hot. Dalton Rushing RBI single. I decided to take him out for Andres Munoz. And he lets up a double to Jung-Hoo Lee. Although, runner thrown out, the second runner, Rushing, will go bottom 10. Brandon Williams in for the save. We are out of bench players. Wilson, Herrera, Moore with a double. Big swing for Christian Moore. Wyatt Langford draws a walk. Okay. 2 on, 2 away. And Ellie De La Cruz is out. A 6-7 final score. The National League wins the All-Star game. A very exciting ending to the game, with Dalton Rushing of the Atlanta Braves winning the All-Star Game MVP. He had the homer early off of Framber Valdez, and he drove in the game-winning run, or I guess the original game-winning run, in the 10th. Devin Williams gets the win. Emmanuel Clase gets the loss. Emmanuel Clase, no decision, minus 3,000 bettors got to be pissed. Because it's not even Clase's fault. He pitched the 9th. He didn't allow a run. It was the extra innings runner that scored. It's not his fault. I'm sure Emmanuel Clase sent those bettors a sad dog face picture, just like he did in real life. We lost the futures game, and our guy Mike Benitez got the loss. You hate to see it. So the AL loses across the board. Home Run Derby, All-Star Game, and futures game. We're going to make it up to our series against the Phillies. So we've got 3 in Pittsburgh against the Pirates, who have the same record as us. 3 games against the Rays, and then 3 against the Cubs. The series against Tampa Bay is especially important because they are 1 game ahead of us in the standings at 49 and 48. And obviously, they are a team who we're competing with for a wild card spot. Right now, we've got to jump 3 teams, including Tampa Bay. 5-4 against the Pirates. This is the last game. We won the first 2. We're looking for the sweep. And that's not going to help. Tamar Johnson, first-time All-Star, singles into center off of Joey Smith. Now, Joey's not the one who allowed that earned run. He doesn't blow the save. Jojo Romero does, who hasn't done too well since being the closer. Luke Raley looking to end the game. This one goes in the left. Mike Trout knows he has to be quick, but he bobbles the ball on the turn. And then the throw is nowhere close. And the Pirates walk it off to avoid the sweep. We still take 2 of 3, so I guess I can't get too upset. And through 100 games, we now have a record of 50 and 50. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Still not a great loss, though, especially considering we should have won. We were up 5-2 Going into the ninth, Teal and Schneemann, both homer. Bryce Wilson, solid start, but Romero, and I guess along with Joey Smith, they both blew it. Randall Jacobs, the rookie, was not great, but their bullpen was lights out. Waldo pulled his hamstring in the first game against the Rays. He'll be out a week or two. So we're going to call up Claudio Rubio. He'll make his season debut. He's played a little bit in the big leagues over the last few years and has looked really solid in AAA. Game 2 against the Rays. We're up 6-3. Dane Myers has a 10-game hitting streak on the line. We won the first game against the Rays 9-2, so we're already off to a great start in this series as Myers grounds this one over to short. Could be a double play, and it is. He's out at first. Myers, believe it or not, would get another shot, though, in the top of the ninth because we would add 4. Kyle Teal, 3-run homer. Edgar Caro drives in a run himself, his 3rd hit of the game. Myers up the middle off of Phil Bickford. That's a single. That'll score another run. And it's 11-3. Our offense has scored 20 runs in the first 2 games against Tampa Bay. And guess what? We still weren't done. Colson Montgomery, 2-run homer. We win it 13-3. So we win the first 2 against the Rays, which is huge. We had to win this series. And through 2 games, we already have. And now we're going to go for the sweep. Edgar Caro, 3 for 5, 3 doubles, 4 RBIs, 2 runs. He's up to 269. Teal, 3 for 5. He's up to 270, including a homer. Wisniewski, 7 innings. He allowed 3, but they were all unearned. And then the bullpen did a good job finishing it off. So we'll see if we can get the sweep. Myers now with an 11-game hit streak on the line. Looks like we will get the win probably. We're up 4-1. We scored 2 in the first, and we've added 2 more in the 8th. Against Joe Jimenez, 3-1. Myers probably should have let that one go, but he wanted to continue the hit streak. Unfortunately, he does not. Grounder over to third. Sox win it, though. 4-1 your final. We complete the sweep, and we're 3 games above 500 at 53-50. This is a huge series result for us. We had to play well against Tampa Bay, and to win all 3 is gigantic. And this goes a long way in the playoff picture because, I mean, not only do we naturally move up by winning, but it knocks a team below us who was our direct competition. We had basically the same record as them going into the series. Kyle Teal back-to-back games with a homer. Schmidt goes deep as well. Schultz played well, although he didn't last long, only 3 2/3. I was worried he got injured, but he didn't. The game never told me he got hurt, so luckily he's fine. Here we are against the Cubs. We continued the win streak by winning the first game, 5-2. Top of the ninth, 2 on, 2 away. Jonathan India up the middle. Weidroff makes the play. Throw to first is in time. That's a 5-game win streak for the White Sox, who are 7-1 since the All-Star break, and we are now 5 games above 500. We were 5 games below 500 coming into the episode. An 8-7 victory. The Cubs hit the ball well. Alonso, Kiner, Falefa, Cowser, all homer, but their pitching could not keep up. Eric Fetty, the former White Sox, really struggled. Offense played super well. Smith, Wagner, Montgomery, all homer. Bryce Wilson wasn't great, but the bullpen did their job for the most part. We did lose the last game, 2-3, so that spoils the momentum a little bit. But we're 55-51 now. Same record as the Cubs, which is crazy because when we played them in May, they were like 20 games above us. We've caught all the way up. Here's the box score for our 9-2 win against the Rays. So here we are nearing the trade deadline. We're 2 out of first place, and we hold the 3rd wild card spot. When we were, 18-31 in May, I figured it would be a long shot for us to have a playoff spot at all. But we currently have one here in July. Since 18-31, we have gone 37, if my math is right, 37-20. We've been one of the best teams in the league over the last 2 months. We played really well at the end of the last episode, and it fully carried over into June, into July, and now 7-2 since the All-Star break. Our batting average ranking started the day at 28th. Now, it's in the top half of the league in 12th. And all of our other counting stats are really solid. To put things in perspective, at this point last year, we were 53-53. Remember, we weren't that good last year until the final month of the year where we won like 18 of our last 23 games. So all of a sudden, going into the trade deadline, when we looked like a lock to be sellers, maybe we can buy. Obviously, we want to be responsible. But I was thinking about trade packages for guys like Framber Valdez and Corey Julks and Hayden Wisniewski. But now we can make this team better. If we do choose to buy, I think another starting pitcher could be on the horizon, another reliever. We're going to get Ezra back at some point. I'm not going to keep him in the minors forever. Another position player, maybe. An outfielder, possibly. I think anything other than a catcher and a first baseman is probably on the table. I think in the next episode, we're going to get through August and maybe the start of September. I think we're looking at 2 more episodes for the regular season. The original plan would have been to do 1 more. But so far this year, the episodes have been so long. This one is an hour and a half. Holy moly. So I want to make them a little bit shorter, but I hope you guys enjoyed the long one nonetheless. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Peace out.